This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Agro Sul Rice. But before that, this video is brought to you by Farm Inc. and Metallic Fox. Thank you for being Farm Baron. So the Agro Sul Rice map you found over at the FarmingSimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now, the main namesake of this map, rice, is going to be one of the new crops in this map. So if you want to get your rice on before Farming Simulator 25, then you may want to just check this map out because it's got everything you may ever really want with respect to rice. You can flood the fields, you can drain the fields, you can spread rice, broadcast spread rice, or you can plant rice traditionally. You're going to be able to harvest rice, and we have custom machinery for working in those rice fields. Let's read the description. Agro Sul Rice is a map based on the southern region of Brazil where rice producers cultivate around the river. Through a water distribution system, flooding the rice planting areas for better productivity. Starting as a new farmer, you'll have a small farm with small vehicles and implements. It also has a cow pasture and free-range chickens. If you need water, you can get it from the river or lakes. In the city, there's a gas station, shop, market, and workshop. Selling grain at the Pioneer Station. Sell of bales, straw, and hay at Mr. Bales. Sell of wool at Mr. Cotton. And, well, you know what? What do you think we do at MR.Woods? We sell our logs and wood chips, of course. We also have a sale of milk and dairy production at the dairy. Standard sell points and factories are spread around the map. A forest area with reduced price for working with wood. New crops have been added. The seasonal growth plan has been customized to work with the southern hemisphere. New animals added from Hofbergman. Collectibles are spread all around the map. They are the game cartridges from Holt Belarus, and you will be able to use them in the gaming computer in the vehicle shop. Rice is harvested in January and February, and it will regrow. Some vehicles have been modified for better overall gameplay. Now, this map does have some required mods. They are Small House BR, BR Warehouse for grain sales, South American Classic Sheds, the Banana Tree. We also have Classic Fences and Gates Pack, Vegetal Coal Factory. We have BR Small Woods Shed Pack, Farm Fence Pack, and Aducaris. With that, let's go ahead and load on into the map. In addition to those required mods, we are going to be using mods we typically use when we look at maps. They are additional field info, additional game settings, animal food overview, field lease, food calculator, precision farming, and straw harvest. If you happen to load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you will find the main farm is built out exactly how you see it here in new farm mode. You do not have any starting machinery, nor do you own the land, but of course your starting balance will be significantly higher. With respect to low-end systems, if you are going to play this map with a lower-end system, I do want to tell you that I had no issues whatsoever maintaining a fairly solid 60 frames per second, but I did note that we did have fairly high GPU usage, so your mileage may vary depending on the power of your low-end system. As a little bit of a reference point, the system I used was using integrated AMD graphics. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. This is a standard size map, and we have fields here, here, and here. These are rice fields. So all these fields kind of right here around the river, they are going to be rice fields. We do have all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22. In addition, we have pinto beans, black beans, and rice as added crops. If you happen to have the premium expansion enabled, you will also have access to your red beets, carrots, and parsnips. We go ahead and take a look at our lands overview. We see we start out with farmland ID 3, 4, and 41. The main starting farm is basically split between 3 and 4, and then 41 is going to be some production. Now, with respect to the other farmlands on this map, we have a sheep farm located at farmland ID 28. That can be bought for $542,000. We have what I'm calling a forestry farm at farmland ID 14. that can be bought for $221,000. We also have a chicken and sheep area that is going to be located here at Farmland ID 2. That is going to be buyable for $747,000. We also have then a cow pasture located here with Farmland ID 40. That is going to be $358,000. We have a horse farm at Farmland ID 5. That can be bought for $398,000. We have a sheep and chicken farm at Farmland ID 9. That can be bought for $360,000. And then we just have a random farmhouse associated with Farmland ID 8 for $184,768. So we have several available farmlands on this map that you can buy with farmhouses and several with animals. Now, with respect to fields, our farmlands 3 and 4, they are combined They are $542,000 and $416,000 respectively. So if you do go with with farm manager mode, you're going to be chewing up over $900,000 just buying plots 3 and 4. But we do have several other farms scattered around that you could go and choose instead. For that, let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the buyable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any fields, what fields are included, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost. And then you go and cross-reference that with our field calculator screen. This is going to show us the sizes of each particular field. You see we, on average, have fields that range in size from the largest at 14.79 hectares down to the smallest, which is down around 1 to 1.5 hectares in size. So here we go. Here's the smallest, 0.52. Then the next smallest after that is going to be 1.59. With respect to our crop counter, we do have a Southern Hemisphere crop counter because we are not starting in August. We are starting in February instead. Because, of course, winter is summer and summer is winter down south of the equator. We do have quite the extensive changes to this growth schedule as a result. Here we have our pinto beans, black beans, and rice. And as it said, rice harvested in January, well, that's not even listed there, but in February, said it would regrow back. So it seems that if maybe you plant or harvest your rice later on in the season, maybe you're not going to get regrowth. With respect to our prices screen, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops. Once again, available to us in FS22. In addition, we do have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, and our silage, hay, straw, and grass. As we continue down through all of the base game productions, once again, we do see that we have the ability to sell all of our base game production items as well. Something else to note is we do have the ability to not only buy lime, but we can also sell lime. And we also have ways of getting rid of our stones if we play with stones enabled. We also have multiple sell points for our pinto beans, our black beans, and our rice. We have also rice husk and husked rice as items. With respect to the farm production pack, we do not have the ability to sell our washed root crops. And with respect to our our platinum expansion, we do not have the ability to sell our platinum expansion production items. So if you do want to get into platinum expansion production, well, you will need to put down your own production and sell point. We do have the ability to sell our premium expansion productions as well as crops. With respect to pumps and hoses, we do have the ability to sell our separated manure. We also have a packet of charcoal because we have charcoal factories on this map. If you're playing with straw harvest, we do have the ability of getting rid of our straw and hay pellets. And then lastly, we have our premium expansion root crops. We do have quite an interesting list of starting machinery available to us here on this map. All of it is new and none of it is leased. Now, with respect to animals, we do have the Hofbergman animals as the description said. Therefore, we have porkers, sows, and piglets. We also have young goats, sheep, lamb, goat males, and rams. We also have female and male cows. We have heifers and calves as well. And then we have ducks, ducklings, chickens, roosters, and little chicks. We do have contracts available to us on this map. And with respect to productions that we own at the start, we own our rice husker. That is going to take rice and it's going to husk it and also offer a rice husk as an output. We have lime production for stones in, lime out. And we have our charcoal factory. There's actually 3 charcoal factories on this map. They're going to accept wood and they're going to output packets of charcoal. Now, lastly, we do have 20 collectibles. As I already said, they are the Holt Featheroon game cartridges, and you will use those game cartridges at the vehicle shop if you want to play some games. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet because we do have some very interesting custom vehicles included with this map. We've got the Valtra A135 high-tech small tractor, and this is a mod. This is included with the map. We also have the modded Topliner 4090H Streets Far Harvester that has been modded to work with the 3 new crops. So this is what you'll be using to harvest your rice and your 2 new bean types. We've got our 2017 pickup truck that is also a modded vehicle. We have our half-pipe HP20 trailer, also a modded vehicle. It has been set up to handle the new fill types included with this map. We have the Topliner 4090H header is modded, again, to work with the 3 new crops. And we have the Corn Champion 5-row corn header for our harvester. We have the Speedmax 560 mulcher. We have the Servo 25 plow, as well as the Joker 4CT disc harrow. We have the ZATS 3200 seed spreader. So this is not a lime or fertilized spreader. This is set up as a seeder, and it is going to broadcast spread all of your normal seed types for your seeder, including your 2 new beans and your rice. We also have the Pasture Faro 4010D forage wagon. And we wrap it all up with the Aquatrans 7300S water trailer that, again, has been modified to work with milk, water, herbicide, and liquid fertilizer. Now, as far as mods and DLCs, this map does have quite the number of custom vehicles and implements. So we have a modded variant of the 2017 pickup truck, and this is basically set up with different tires than would have normal. We have our Topliner 4090H harvester. Again, it's been set up with kind of fairly interesting looking tires here. We have Trelleborg tires, Lizard wide tires, twin wheels. We have our harvester header. Then we have our tractors. And for the most part, these tractors, we're not going to run down through every single iteration because a lot of these tractor configurations are going to be fairly much the same. What is important to note here is the wheel brand Lizard. So we have these tires with really deep bites in them. Then we have rear twins, wide tires, rear twins. Then we have this interesting thing like paddles or blades, clearly to dig into the ground and help support the tractor. Then we have narrow tires. These are metal discs, again, to aid in our working in a flooded field. Rear twins. Now we've got these baskets on the back, again, to help spread out the weight of the vehicle so you don't sink down into the soft ground. And back to standard. Now, overall, those tire types are going to be fairly standard across all of the custom tractors on this map. So we have the Valtra A Series, the New Holland T6. We also have the Fendt 300 Vario, Massey Ferguson 4700M, and the Valtra Valmet 8750, the John Deere 6M, the Buer 6105 as well. In addition to that, we have the broadcast spreader. This is not a fertilized spreader. This is a seeder. It's going to allow us to seed our normal crops as well as our rice and our 2 beans. We have the half-pipe HP trailer. We also have a modified Nova 330 harvester. Again, it's going to work with the new crops. And the PowerStream 500 header for that. Then we have the water tanker that's also going to work with liquid fertilizer, and herbicide. With that, let's go ahead and kind of tour the farm here. We've got quite a lot of things going on. We have our pig area, so we have our slurry point. We have our food trough, and we have our pig drop-off point. We already have 6 pigs in here, and it'll hold a total of 108. Across the way, we have then our sheep area. Of course, our goats are going to output milk. So we have our milk trigger there. We have our water, our food, and our delivery point here. We're going to hold a total of 50 sheep or goats in this pen, and we have 16 at the start. Make our way back over here to our farmhouse. We do have the ability to go into our farmhouse. We can activate the light switches. And we can come in here to our bedroom. We have a sleep trigger at the bed, and we have our wardrobe trigger at the wardrobe. Conveniently enough. Now, if you're the type of player that just has to simulate everything, well, we do have a restroom also. Water fill pipe, fill point. We have our chickens, so we have our eggs. 100 total chickens in this open area. And these are going to be ducks, chicks, and chickens. We have our food. Run down this way. And we're going to have our cow pasture. We're going to have 200 total cows in this pasture, of which we have 52 already. It's a mix of cows, heifers, females, males, bulls, etc. We have our milk point. We have our water. We have our food. There's one of our... Let's go find one of our bulls. There's Mr. Bull. How you doing, Mr. Bull? I'll get out of here before you get angry. Also over here we have our charcoal factory. So we have our pallet spawn point for our charcoal packets. We have our dump point for our wood. We have our wood cell trigger. We have a light switch here. That's what our charcoal apparently is going to come out looking like, bagged. Then we have our activation icon right here. So wood in, charcoal out. Now, one opportunity I think that was maybe missed is that charcoal is not needed in any of the other productions. Would have been nice and interesting to see kind of where charcoal was required for some other productions and usable in some other way other than simply being able to sell it. We do have a pull-through silage bunker here for our cows. Nice open shed, bale storage or implements. And then we have this shed here. Some more implements stored inside. We have our maintenance trigger. For a fuel station. Then we have a silo for our crops, the dump and fill pipe. This is going to be our corn husker, our rice husker, not corn husker, our rice husker. So we have fill point, our dump point. We have our interactive point. Again, rice in, husked rice out, as well as rice husk. Now, with respect to this farm and its customization, yes, indeed, we can sell everything at this particular farm. Let's go ahead and do the loop and take a look at all of the other farms available on this map. Second farm we're going to look at is up here at Farmland ID 28. This is a sheep farm. Just south of that, we do have several grapevines pre-placed here. And we have our sleep trigger We're going to find we have another coal or charcoal factory. We have our sheep area. Right, so we're set up for our lambs and sheep. 15 in here. We have our milk pull-out point. We have water and our food and our wool. Now, something I want to point out about this shed and the other sheds around the map that are going to look like this. You simply walk up to the shed, you click, not going to go into. There is a hidden person door right here. We need to click on that. Once we go inside, we can then open the rest of the door from the back. So that is how you get into that shed. Now we're going to fly over to the next farm, which I'm calling the forestry farm because it's simply a farmhouse and the third charcoal factory. It's over here at farmland ID 14. There's also a small field over here associated with this. We're starting to see it come up right now. So we have our farmhouse trailer. And then we have our third charcoal factory. We just get a quick look, kind of overview of the map itself. We're going to have a much thorough fly around a little bit later. The fourth farm we're going to look at is farmland ID 8. It is just north of field 7, which is a flooded rice field. So looking at the big PDA, this is where we are. This is where we started. We went up to here, we flew over to here, and now we're down to here. This is simply just a small farmhouse, just like the original farmhouse we looked at the starting farm. And we have another one of those tricky little sheds that I just mentioned. And that's really all we have going on at this farm. We're just going to fly over to the next farm, which is just a quick little flight to the west. And this is going to be at farmland ID 9. So it's going to be the fifth farm that we're going to look at. We got a nice barn here, a nice shed for bales or implements. We've got our farmhouse with our sleep trigger. And then here we have our sheep. So we have 25 sheep here. And we have our food. We have our milk. And we have our wool. We also have chickens. So 30 chickens available here. And we have our eggs. And we have our food. Right across the street from that, we have our sixth farm, if I'm keeping track correctly. This is going to be at farmland ID 5. So we have our farmhouse. We have room for 5 horses here. So we have water, food. And then we have a nice shed over here with a maintenance trigger. If we continue to make our way south and east over these flooded fields, we'll talk about how we flood and unflood those here in a minute. We have a cow pasture. The cow pasture is going to be at farmland ID 40. It's going to hold 200 cows. And we have our water, we have our food, and we have our milk trigger here for these cows. And then across the river, we have the last farm we're going to look at. So we have another small Brazilian farmhouse that we can go into. Another one of those tricky little sheds. And we have another sheep barn. 65 sheep here. Food, milk, wool. And then we have chickens. So we have eggs, food, and chicken drop-off. 360 chickens here. Now, with respect to the ability to customize the farms, every single farm on this map can be completely, utterly customizable. Every single one. So with respect to our scoring metric, are the farms customizable? Yes, they are all completely, totally customizable So the map is going to get a full point with respect to farms being customizable. With respect to production being built in, we're giving the map a full point there as well, because we have 11 productions built into this map. We have the rice husker here at the starting farm. We have a BGA. We have a spinnery at Mr. Cotton. We have a sawmill at Mr. Wood. We also have a bakery, a dairy, a line production, and 3 charcoal factories. Now with that, let's also just take a quick look at build mode. With respect to custom buildings, of course, we have several required mods that are going to include custom buildings, custom silos, and of course, custom farmhouses. With respect to production, do we have the ability to put down these custom productions? Yes, we do. We have our rice husker, $10,000. We have our charcoal factory, $45,000. And then we have our line production at $4,000. And then we have the BGA, fairly standard BGA at $20,000. We have our charcoal sell point, if you want to put down another sell point for your charcoal. We do have some custom animal areas as well we can place. They're always great to see. And as far as ground textures go, fairly basic assortment of ground textures. We do have some custom foliage. So we have the ability to paint down a stubble tillage field. We have the ability to put down conifers, daylilies, meadow grass, daisies, amongst all of the other normal plants. And then we do have some custom trees here. We have the mango tree. We have another larger mango tree. A bamboo tree. We have a dry spruce. Bigger dry spruce. We have the palm tree. Larger palm. We have pine saplings. And then we're going to go through the various growth sizes of these pines. And then these are going to be part of a different map. They're just included here as modded variants. So yeah, we got cool custom foliage, custom textures here with the great field, and some custom trees. Pretty neat overall setup. For this next segment, I want to talk about how we flood and unflood all of these various rice fields, because we're going to have to go to multiple locations to enable the flooding and drying out of these fields. So you can see our starting farm located right over there. And then if we come over here to the north, up here by the river, we have another small shed. That's where we're going to find our forage wagon. And then if we make our way down here by the river's edge, we have a pumping station. And if we click remove water, well, it stopped pumping the water. And once we stop pumping the water, our rice fields are now dried out. So that's going to be for these fields, but not all of them. So let's go and kind of address how we're going to unflood all of these other fields. We see the shine on all of them, right? We know there's water there. Now bear with me a little bit because I located all these earlier, and they are not exactly the same with respect to being right along the river's edge. So this one's over here. This is going to be to unflood the fields that are associated with farmland ID 2. Okay, we've got our shovel. Remove water. Now we can add water back. You see how that works? Remove water. And what that basically does is it removes and closes this off. Oh, look at there. Because we have water flowing out of this basin up high. And then we come down here and we basically have blocked that off. So now we're not getting water to these fields. Crossed the river. I'm going to follow the river down. To this location right here. Right south of field 7. Remove water, left click. And we move the pipes. And now these fields are dry. Just north of field 7 now, we have this click, remove water. So we lower that. And once we do that, then this whole segment goes dry. We have another trigger here for field 7 itself. Click, and they go dry. So now we've got all of them dry, except for a couple over here. And that is basically just south of town. So we are over here right at farmland ID 5. Left click. And now this segment has gone dry. So the only fields that are left flooded are on this side of the river. Just trying to quickly remember where this activation is at. Here we go. So to unflood field 6, we have to come over here between field 6 and 2. And once again, close the gate down. And now this channel is closed. And these two fields are now effectively dry as well. So we've now been able to successfully dry out all of our flooded fields. So as we've learned with respect to Farming Simulator 25, what you typically do is you could broadcast spread your rice in a dry environment, flood your field, and then have the field flooded throughout the growth stages. And then you unflood it, let it dry out, and then you come in here and harvest. Now, with respect to where everything else is in town, let's start over here to the west. So the extreme western edge of town, we have our biomass heating plant. We have our biogas plant. And everything here at the biogas plant can be sold. So we can get rid of the silage. We can get rid of the BGA and this shed. Then we have this entire area to do whatever we want with. Something else we're going to notice is as we come through town, there are implements or trailers or vehicles that we can make use of, like this Cote tanker right across the way from the BGA. We have our animal dealer with animated animals. And then we have another usable trailer here in this Wilson for transport of animals. And we have our Pioneer grain selling station right here. And don't miss this trailer available for our use. Continue to make our way down the road here. We've got farm left and right we already talked about. We have our dairy. So we have our interactive icon. We have our pallet point. We have our dump point. Oh, and look, we've got a tanker. Again, available for our use. We have our spinnery. So we have our dump point, interactive point, pallet spawn point. We have a grocery. So here we're going to be bringing some products, and then we have our sell point for our charcoal right in front of the grocery. Across the street from the grocery, we have our bakery, interactive point, dump, and pallet spawn point. We have a restaurant sell point, and then we have a Ma Familia sell point here. Across the street from that, we have fuel. And across the street from that, well, we have our vehicle shop, Stara. Oh, look here. We have a man truck and flatbed. We also have a forklift that we can make use of. We're going to need to go inside to the desk in order to buy our vehicles. And then on the other, let's get back in here. Oh, look, there's another one. On the other side of the desk, well, we have our gaming station. And this is where we can load our game cartridges and have a little bit of fun. No fun. Just we can load them. This is going to be a buying station. We have a general selling station. And then we have our stone sell point there. So we're going to be able to buy seed, lime, and solid fertilizer. And that, folks, is pretty much this map in a nutshell. Now, with respect to the rest of our scoring metrics, we're going to give the map a full point with respect to buildings where appropriately are using the new texturing technique, as well as ground textures. And then lastly, we're going to be giving the map a full point with respect to trigger and interactive areas being clearly marked. So that's going to wrap this up. We're going to give this map a score of, well, 5 out of 5. Pretty nice South American map. We've got rice added. We've got a couple different types of beans. I like the gameplay element of being able to flood the fields and unflood the fields. And I really like the modded vehicles that we have with respect to tire choices in working with those flooded fields. So here we have our lime production. We'll wrap it up there. Dump our stones in, interactive icon, and get our lime out the top. And we have a nice shed here. That is also going to be a sell point. I would love to know your all's thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think of this map? And until next time, happy farming.